Oh,
Sorry,
Hello.
Joe. I'm glad you messaged me because we didn't hear no ding dong, no nothing, and we happily doing internet research and jabbering away to each other here and quite oblivious. So
Hmm.
uh,
yeah, it didn't show any message, nothing. So hello, Erica. Hello, Joe. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm
sorry for
glad you
delay.
guys are here.
Sorry for
No,
delay.
no problem.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
It
You
happens.
guys look very cozy. You look very cozy today.
We
Brilliant,
got our,
brilliant, brilliant.
our nice warm coffees. It's a little chilly today
Yeah.
and cloudy.
Good, good, good. How have you been, Joe? How have you been?
Good.
Excellent.
Things have calmed
Excellent.
down a lot since the weather challenges that we had at work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some other
Good, good.
annoyances have come up, but nothing out of the ordinary this time at least.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And you're good, I'm assuming, Erica Jane?
I'm good.
I've got your sweater on today.
Oh yeah, we're matching.
oh
I've
yeah.
got a pink one.
Yeah.
I like it. He's always telling me about a white sweater that I have.
It's my yachting sweater, you see?
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Used to do a lot of sailing when I was a kid, but on dinghies, not on keelboats. A little bit on keelboats, but not a lot. So, very cool, very cool, very cool.
And
So
how
what
are
was
your
your
You wanna
Erica?
take
What?
How are your new friends? Your rubber bands?
They're good. I'm putting them back in now. We just got done eating, so I'm trying to put them back in, but it's not working.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Can they go?
There we go.
Can they go anywhere? Or they're like specific hooks
No,
for
there's
them.
specific teeth they're supposed to stay on.
Oh, okay. But
You're
technically, they
amazing.
could go anywhere, but you're supposed to keep them in a certain
There's
place.
yeah, see, like up here, these don't have any hooks on them. Back here they do.
Oh yeah, so you
Those
can
hooks
put
are
them.
for the bands.
You
So
can put them anywhere back there.
they put them
Wow.
in different places in your mouth to do different things with your jaw. So
If in a school, that would be the most coolest thing a kid can ever have.
rubber
Really.
band on their teeth.
See, my brother, he had a different shape of his ears, both different, and he used to claim that, oh, I have a plastic surgery. I had a plastic surgery, and I can hear things, and he was like really flaunting this thing.
it,
He
it turned a disadvantage into an advantage. Good for him.
actually, so in childhood you do all these nonsense. So Erica, just assume that you are in school. This is the really the coolest thing ever.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can pick up you pick up transmissions from space with those braces.
Mhm. That's true. I probably could. Yeah.
Actually, it can happen. Like people have picked up radio stations from loose teeth that just happen to vibrate exactly right.
Wow.
Not very often, but it has
Right.
happened. Yeah. They all freaked out, like, well, anyway. It's amazing how, but Beena's point is actually quite a potent point. Very influential works by, or at least a psychologist back in the 50s, R.D. Laing, and he studied schizophrenia, real in-depth studies. And his conclusions he came to is one, that he didn't see it as a mental disease. He saw schizophrenics as being pioneers of and explorers of human consciousness, that they're
Wow.
pushing the boundaries. That was his one conclusion. And the second conclusion, and because of the second conclusion, or maybe it was the other way around, but he found that depending on how the people were the environment in which they grew up and which they connected and were able to share their schizophrenia, that environment profoundly determined how they related to their schizophrenia. So people who grew up in like religious things and, oh, you're getting, voices from the devil or whatever. I mean, these people wanted to pluck their eyes out and kill themselves and all this. And it was an absolutely horrible, terrible thing for them. Other people again who said, wow, this is a gift from God and this is fantastic, and you're blessed or whatever, not necessarily religious either, but you're blessed, you're wonderful, you're a genius, etc. They thought it was the bee's knees and it was the best thing ever. And the people had the same condition, the same symptoms, everything, no real difference. But that bias, that cueing, in other words, made all the difference. So likewise, you got weird ears, you cue it to be something like, fantastic or not. Same with the braces. It's incredible. It's
Right.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cueing, a bit of self-confidence, a little bit of blarney, Goes a long, long way.
Mhm.
So, and with kids, especially. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
powerful. But yeah, you don't have to kind of ham it up a bit, but you can have fun with it at least, as an adult. So, and then
Right.
it's just like queuing makes all the difference. It's a really, really incredible. I never forget that. It's a really always stood out for me from way, way back when. That the power of queuing, really something special.
Yeah.
So really, really into it. So yeah, big deal, big deal. Very
Yep.
cool. All right, Joe, we go right to you. Yes, unless you have something else, Beena.
I was just saying that you can enjoy your teens now. You say that, okay, I'm in mid-teens, and
Exactly. Exactly. Do over.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. But you still feel much of that,
yes,
I would imagine, Erika Jane. I mean, you haven't gotten old like some people do that lose connection with their youth.
No, I was actually just having that
I
conversation today with someone.
Wow, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, I haven't made very many vows. Probably only one that I can think of, but maybe there's others. But the one that I can remember is I vowed never, ever, ever to become an adult like I saw adults were.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
started to do stupid stuff that they objected to as kids, but they did as adults. Just well,
Right.
that's what adults do. I said no. I'm never ever going to grow up to be a stupid adult. So never, never,
Mhm.
that was something I
never.
was
And I don't
sharing.
want to be reincarnated as a stupid dog either. Sorry, Beena. Say again.
No, but still, this is what I was appreciating a few minutes back, and I was saying that I'm really blessed that I have friends like Sil also, because he always whatever nonsense. Okay, sometimes I do get into nonsense like this welcome post. Joe, we make a welcome post every whenever we have 300 members, over 300. So it's like a ritual in the group. We always do that. So when 300 plus members, we make a welcome post and tag everyone, and so they make comments. It's a race we have. It's a competition. Me and Sil always have. Okay, now it is this member. The welcome post is ready. Who is gonna make a comment first? And every single time we do that once a day, at least in 24 hours. Every single time we try really hard to beat each other, and we always have fun. And we follow that. That like really, it's like a child play for us in all this serious conversation throughout the day we have with all the participants and everything we are doing courses, but in the meantime during that we always maintain to be like this. We really fight with each other, like try to, I'm not going to beat you and all that, and it
And
was fun.
and and the major fun part of it is that neither of us care much about winning. We couldn't care
Right.
two hoops. We're just big nincompoops. Oh yeah, it's
We
good.
always
It's good to
do
keep your
some
nincompoop
techniques
alive.
to make it early or they make it quick and all that, but it is just to enjoy and celebrate your inner child.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think to always be like that, always be friend with your inner child, always. So this is what we try to do every single time, and he's such an amazing person
yeah.
in this.
We have a
I
lot of fun. Have a lot of
that
fun.
that he always just not let me just do this, but also he participate with me and he says, okay, yes, we are do this, and we are doing this. So this is
Mm,
fun, and this is also very, very, very
mm.
empowering. We get
Yeah,
refreshed in few minutes, like, oh, just in couple of minutes we were
yeah.
fighting, and
Simple things. Simple
yes,
things.
and we feel
Mhm.
good. So this is good. So Erica,
Amazing.
start smiling, 5 inches smile, crack that, and say, okay, I'm living my teen again. Yep.
I like it.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to serious stuff.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you have fun in your teens, Joe, Erica?
uh, my senior year of high school, I had some more. I had a better group of friends, so I had fun in my senior year of high school.
Wow.
17,
Wow.
18. Before that, not a ton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not usually the most happiest time for most people, unfortunately. It's a pity. But at least you had one good year. So there you go. What about you, Erica?
I would say the one good thing about my teens was that I did have a really good group of friends. I had
Brilliant.
some really solid friend groups in high school. That was just about the only good thing going on in my teens.
Mhm.
Excellent. 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 Yeah. still, even if we don't have good experiences with others, we can remember our own self somewhat, or even younger, maybe even younger than that, like you were remembering your very young self, right, Eureka?
Mhm.
Yep.
So, yeah. Or if not, it's a good project to rediscover that self, even if you
Right.
never were that way.
Mhm.
I was never really a kid ever. I'm more of a kid now than I was then. Much more. Certainly more of a
Yeah.
nincompoop too. Yeah, I was always a very sober kid. So it's good to rediscover that though. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, brilliant. Where we at? Oh, go ahead, sir. Sorry.
the concept of being an adult, quote unquote adult, is an interesting
Yeah.
concept. 'Cause I don't, you think of an adult, based on the authority figures you had growing up, your
Mhm.
parents, your
Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But when I compare myself to my dad or my mother or my
Yeah.
grandparents, at 38 years old, I feel like they were much more of an adult than I am right now. Like I don't feel a whole lot different than when I was 21 or 22. I pay more bills, but that's really about it. I don't know if
Yeah.
I would
I
really
hear you.
fully
I
consider
hear you.
myself
I
an
hear you.
adult.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
mean, I probably watch more
Yeah,
cartoons.
and I don't want to either, right? Say last part again, Joe.
No, I was agreeing that you don't want to necessarily think of yourself as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is practicing that power and authority, which we are not really interested in. That was a big deal in the past. In the past
Yeah.
generations, it was a big deal that, okay, now you're an adult, you can practice your power, you can exercise your
Yeah.
power actually. And
Yeah.
it's a big deal. People would really strive and gear towards practicing and exercising their power, which is, okay, not really the case for us. We have this, okay, who we are. So all the efforts, all the exercises towards to be yourself. So it has nothing to do with the authority and command and all that. So maybe that's why we are not into that. Exactly. Yes, you're right. And it's
Hmm.
interesting. Just to be an adult, uh, what's the difference? Just
Yeah.
the number of experience. So okay, yes, I got more skills
Yeah.
uh, to live this life, but still it's a new day every day. So what's the point to feel any much different than who I was before? Good
Hmm.
point. Yeah.
There's a moreness to it as well. I saw so many kids when they got to that right out of high school. They were so eager to be an adult, but really what they were doing was just basically giving up on life. They just stopped growing, they just stopped doing, and they reverted into a total should, and that was it. And that should was basically them giving up. And the payoff for them was minimal energy usage. It was very easy, very conventional. I got my job, I'm getting married, I'm having kids, I'm doing everything I should be doing, and this is it. This is the life.
Hmm.
And that's it. And they basically just gave up living. It's too incredible to me. No, no thanks, not for me.
Hmm.
No, 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 no. But there was definitely an intent to stop trying and doing and learning and growing. I'm here now. I'm an adult. I'm sensible. I pretty much got it all going on, and that's it. Of course, it doesn't always last, and they have problems later on. But that was certainly the allure and this idea that they now are sensible and doing what's right and good and all this. It worked for a short time, I guess, but it's definitely an ego-driven idea and somewhat of a laziness idea as well. And also the
Hmm.
power. A lot of them just wanted to be parents so they could have power over the kids. It's incredible. So all sellout stuff, that's it. To me, I saw most of the kids in the way they became adults was typically almost always selling out of some kind. It's amazing.
Hmm.
No, no, not for me, thank you. Nope, nope, nope. But life goes on, and everybody finds their spot. So I don't really criticize it. Just not for me. You know,
Hmm.
if it works for you. Everybody takes a different path, and the whole great machine works together with all those component parts. So who knows?
Hmm.
It all works. It all works. Yeah, yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. Where we at, Joe? Where we at? Where we going to?
So I went through module 3, session 3 on the way of impeccability. which was a shorter session, but the exercise was a little bit more difficult.
Ah,
Um,
excellent. I'm
so I only had
pleased.
a couple of takeaways. So there were only a few slides. So it was all about the dictionary power, right? So each item in the dictionary
Ah, right, right,
uh,
right,
is
right.
also an
Yeah,
entry and a building block of you. That stood
yeah.
out. And then your dictionary power is yourself in progress. And I wrote down it's a living document. Um, kind of as
Yes,
you grow and learn
yes, yes.
more stuff will go into your dictionary power, or
Yeah,
stuff may get removed, or
yeah,
meanings may
yeah.
change.
Exactly, exactly. Exactly. And also one of the key points that seems to get missed in the session is you make your entry and then you make an expanded understanding or a definition. Definition is not the best words, more of an understanding. And as you go through over time, you keep adding to that, you keep adding to that, so
Mm-hmm.
that you keep elaborating your understanding because they aren't words, they're conceptions. So as such, they're living and open because they're connected. Yeah, there we go. A nice diagram maybe of a conception that's connected to other conceptions and intertwined and interconnected. So, but that's very important because if you take any of the major conceptions that we talk about, they living, they grow. Always you adapt and you have your understanding of it keeps expanding, and through that expansion, it keeps connecting to the other conceptions. And this is really key. That overall connectivity, we see it in as people go through the program when they do this in detail, and that immersion into it is very important because at some point it's like I see all the connections and they get all excited. I see how it's all connecting, and that's a very very big deal because in that moment of the connectivity we now taking already aggregated information into this abstract conception, right? It's an aggregation, you abstract it into the conception, then you take all of those and you aggregate them once again, and then you keep doing this, and each time you go into a conception, into the absolute the depths of understanding that you understand it forwards, backwards, inside out, upside down, and you understand it so thoroughly that it is yours completely and utterly, then you apply it and implement it and own it, and eventually you get to the self-proof. And when you get to that point in time, and we're going to go into the later in the thing, it comes with self owning it and self-proof, but at that point in time where you own it like that, that understanding, which is now a technique, a methodology, a tool, becomes yours. And it not just becomes yours, but it becomes innate. That you don't need to remember what this is. You just like perspective shifting. Once you really understand what it is, why it's valuable, what it's about, it's not just shifting to one, but to many, looking at things from all angles, etc. You just start doing it automatically. You don't even think about it. And the value of that is you start to narrow down or quiet down all of the chatter inside you. So your computer gets progressively more and more sophisticated because it is programming with a higher level programming language. And if you study, you probably know coding languages, right? Back in the days, you had BASIC and then you had Pascal and Cobalt, and it went on, right? A plus, all the stuff. Each time they became progressively more sophisticated. The terms meant a whole bunch of terms from the previous language, right?
Mm-hmm.
And same thing. This is exactly the same process we are following with the Dictionary of Power. Hence its name, Dictionary of Power. So it leaves us free to just allow things to come in, and we can just innately react to it in a pure sense, not a reaction of just a blind way, but respond, as it were, really automatically and appropriately, but innately and appropriately at the same time, which frees us up from all needing to think it through every time because we've already mastered that process and we have it at our command. Very, very powerful over the longer term when we really look at this a little bit more deeply. It's very cool. Keep going, keep going,
Mm-hmm.
because there's one other point I want to mention, but it's probably in here if I remember correctly. So I just wanted
So
to elaborate a little bit more on it. Why it's power, because when you can use things innately like that, that's real power.
mhm. So I went through and I wrote down first. I started with the like personal conception terms that I had generated, and then
Excellent,
I wrote down some additional stuff and just kind of
excellent.
what it meant to me. Um, So the first thing I have down is joy warrior. You control your own happiness and joy. It's not up to someone else.
That's a
So
huge conception. Yeah, very cool.
self-creator, you determine who and what you are. The positivity practitioner, similar to joy warrior, you can choose to be positive at any situation where it's appropriate. Sometimes it's
These are all your self conceptions. Cool. I remember them. Yeah.
So energy manager, you choose where to focus your energy and what you allow to drain you. Courage curator, it's one thing to have courageously, but it's
That's
another.
very creative, by the way.
Yeah, I like that one. Courage curator. It
Yeah.
flows. It makes up for the appropriate battler, which doesn't.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I had patience practitioner. Be appropriately patient. Things can still work out even if it's not on your schedule. An appropriate battler, you choose the battles that are worth fighting for you, and choose not to let the other ones drain you.
Yeah.
So then the kind of the individual terms that I put in the dictionary. Let's see. I started with appropriateness, and I wrote down it's important to focus on what is appropriate in the given situation. Because it depends on the situation. It's not a static thing. Sometimes it's appropriate to be aggressive. Sometimes it's appropriate to attack. Sometimes it's appropriate to use.
Appropriateness is dependent on context and motivation.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, both of those. You change one, it changes the whole appropriateness, either one or both. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Application. It's not enough to know what your power terms are. You have to figure out how to appropriately apply them.
Yes. And be able to apply them.
Yeah, be able to be comfortable applying them.
Yeah. And actually be applying them.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's rather obvious, but we can subscribe to the concept of application, but without actually doing application, without actually applying application, it's just an idea. And then through application, we come to which is essentially practice, then capital P practice. But through that application, we come to own what we are applying. We come to self-prove it, and then it shifts. Then you get, after a while of doing this, especially with new conceptions, you get to look around and say, oh, what just happened? Wow, I really responded differently. Oh, I have changed. And that's the magic of application. It automatically implements the change without you even knowing it, just because you are applying certain things. Very simple, but very, 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 very potent. Because we're applying, one of the most profound applications that we apply is understanding. Awareness, discernment, ending up with understanding. Awareness plus discernment equal understanding. But when you get to that real deep understanding, how can you not do something that is sensible when you understand fully, absolutely, without any shadow of a doubt, it is sensible? You've eliminated all the doubts and the ums and the ahs and the maybes and the but. You've gone through every one of those and said, but, I see, okay, that's an invalid but, and you keep going. How can you then not apply that automatically?
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
Yeah. You said awareness plus discernment equals understanding. Is that what you said?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Because you can have awareness and just say, oh, I kind of know it, but I never did anything about it, right? And then you can have awareness, like you see so often in today's political context, or on the internet, where people just they see the first step of something, just step one, and it's like, it just seems like this is a great idea, and it's just obvious kind of to them, it's logic. And you can go back in time, flat earth psychology. Well, it looks flat to me, it must be flat. Okay, it's valid, right? But then when you get a little bit more, they don't want to go to that second step. So this is a problem. That's why awareness on its own is not enough. So again, when you're looking at flat earth, you know, if you think a little bit, you're discerning. You're standing on the side of the shore, and you see a ship, and you see it get smaller and smaller. Well, where's your flat Earth now? Yeah, but they don't think about it. It's like obvious when you think it can't be. So very simple stuff for that, but that's discernment. And then when you put the two together like that, and discernment is looking, you know, at multiple layers, thinking it through to the end. All of those techniques, perspective shifting, all of them fall into the category of discernment. There are, of course, awareness techniques too, but when you really put those two together, and you get real capital U understanding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't that in your job too a lot? Don't you do that? You automatically take awareness, like you got some problem, some challenge that needs to be resolved, and then you know you don't just kind of jump in and try and do it. You apply discerning what all is involved, what are the complications, what are the ramifications, what are the consequences, implications, and then you come to understanding, and then you could actually add on to ADU. You can add on, you know, and that leads to application, right?
Yeah, you become aware of what someone thinks the problem is. You have to discern what the problem really is to
Exactly.
understand the action you need
Yeah.
to take.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, if you know, especially like in with online stuff, you also have to pay attention to what the consequences and the implications are.
Mm-hmm.
Those unintended consequences. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you have to go to that real deep layer discernment, and you get the understanding, and through the understanding, once you understand if there's application that's needed, well, duh, you apply because you understand it's needed. Right? I mean, how can you not apply if you understand application is needed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So, and you know that awareness, discernment, understanding. I like the little mnemonic for it too. ADU. You know, adds to you.
Yeah, awareness. That's good. I
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. I love mnemonics like that. They make me
that.
very
Mm-hmm.
happy. Yeah. I've actually
Um,
got a whole little file. Remind me sometime, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes a little time. I'll put it up. I've got a whole bunch of these abbreviations, and you know the coolness of it. So it's very fun. I'll see if I can find it maybe before we go. So
okay. Funny enough, my next term was awareness.
there you go. There you go.
Be aware of your intents, your surrounding, and the intents of others. Um,
Mm,
the intent of others, understanding the intent of others, I think is the most important part for me right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Joe, understanding the intent of others. Never mind just understanding, but simply asking the question, what is the intent here? Now, I always specify that question. I really rarely try to specify, but in this particular instance, asking the question in that particular manner is exceptionally powerful. Because when we get into a situation, we say, what is the intent here? We are asking it in all contexts, not just the intent of the individual or the intent of the situation, but the intent of the greater situation and the intent of intent itself. Bigger, super huge. And then we see things in multiple things. Like, for instance, you could see that, okay, the world has its own intent sometimes, just in terms of social consciousness, for instance, right? You could say in that context. But then you could say, okay, the larger intent, you know, there's the company intent, the corporation intent, and then there's, you know, my boss's intent, then there's this fellow's intent, there's my team intent. When you start to really see intent, things just clear up just like that. It changes everything. You get that clarity of intent, you know exactly what's going on, you know exactly what to do.
mhm.
Yeah, it really helps. Really helps. It's so powerful. Just a really excellent habit to get into, to pay attention to intent. The moment you spot the intent or multiple intents, everything clears up. Everything clear, and you know exactly what to do. That's what I so love. It just becomes so simple, so easy, so obvious.
Mhm.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh, let's see. Caution, and I pulled caution out of one of the. I think it might have been the last session. You know, when it said caution can be used strategically to heighten your senses, and without it, you lack humility. Without appropriate caution, you'll lack humility.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
humility
exactly.
stood out to
Caution
me
is a
from.
power. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, humility was a big one when we were doing. My dad and I were doing like martial arts. There was a big aspect of learning like Taekwondo was being
Yeah.
humble and about what you were learning. And don't go around
Yeah.
being a jerk about it.
Yeah. Not don't be a bully, in other words. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The next one, it's
Also, humility, sorry. It's also really being aware of you relative to the universe.
mhm.
Right, so it's it's that awareness of exactly where you fit into the scheme of things. Me relative to the universe, well, I'm nothing. How can I feel more? I don't have to feel like I'm a nothing, but relatively, yes, I'm not a nothing, this I know, but I'm nothing like the universe either, and that keeps me humble. It knows I got a long way to go, I got a lot to do, so a lot I don't know. So it just keeps things in perspective, that you don't kind of lose yourself. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's see. The next one's kind of a combination. I wrote integrity, honesty, and ethics. Acting with integrity, honesty, and ethics are core to being impeccable, and they're not optional. I think that was from the last session too.
Yes, yes, and they are not optional for Joe. What you grinning at, Erica? What you grinning? Say.
I was
I
like rubbing my fingers over
Joe
by
is
her
doing this
ear.
thing right in my ear, and that's all I could hear was this like.
But that's like wizard. That's like high level wizardry. That's like when
Yeah,
they're casting a spell and
I,
it's supposed to. Actually, that's not even wizardry. That's when you're like a mage, you see. And then you're supposed to be all casual and nobody's seeing you, but actually you're busy spell casting right in that moment, right?
Yes, I think.
yes, Joe is a fidgeter, and unfortunately, I have like an innate built-in hearing system
Fidget radar.
specifically for repetitive noises. So all of his
Wow.
my ears immediately just like lock on. I'm like, what is that noise?
Wow, very interesting.
So,
Very interesting. But I mean, that characteristic is one of the giveaways for the high level androids.
interesting.
It's how you test them, you see, because most people, humans, they don't care. They don't even notice. They don't have that fineness. But of course, when you're an android, your programming says anything that's doing it must be something that's in your servo motors or something. Something's not working right. So you have to be aware of this.
Like
You're a
it.
robot.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you got a wizard. You got a wizard or mage. Sorry, a mage and a robot. There we go. That's a nice story. Not a robot, an android. It's a little different. So we got to be technical here. It's slightly different, right? Yeah, yeah. So the
I
mage and the android. We'll write a story about the two of you. See, we brought up the Blarney Stone earlier. You can take anything really, and you just kind of let it run, and stuff comes. So yeah,
I like it.
nincompooperi. Yeah, have fun. You started it. You started it.
It was
I
me.
mean,
It was my fault. Yeah.
were you trying to say something, Beena?
was just saying that finally the secret revealed who is Erica.
Yes. 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 So now we got to look at these supposed braces, huh?
Yes.
Not braces, not the braces. Some Android thing going on there, but definitely not braces. We'll have to figure out what exactly that is. I mean, it's too obvious for it to be.
Yeah. Right. I'm trying to pick up broadcast signals in my
You're stealing Wi-Fi with your
Yes,
teeth.
that's it. That's exactly right.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, free Wi-Fi. All right, now we know. This is like high-level hacking.
I'm trying.
Actually, though, see, but that's just but the androids are very sneaky. So if you did a diagnostic and you run this and you discover, and that'll say, oh, the braces, okay, it's to pick up Wi-Fi. All right, then you think, well, all right, that's kind of cool, free Wi-Fi wherever you go, so it makes sense. But it's just a disguise. It's just a disguise to put you off the track, so you don't get the real reason for what they are actually picking up, which of course is the life force vibes, and that's what powers them. You see, so yeah. Yeah.
This is
See?
my Tesla coil. I'm actually trying to plug.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what powers the Android.
I'm
They
trying
don't
to.
have a battery in them. So it's like, where are they getting the power from? Yeah.
Tell me from Brussels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Picks up from, Kirlian energy field from the Kirlian field around you, so otherwise known as auras. You know that you can take a photograph. It's called Kirlian photography, shows your aura and stuff. No. Pretty interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, don't get started us on the stuff. We'll spend forever going in, just fun ideas and fantasies and theories and stuff. But it's pretty cool. Yeah. So we're
All
listening.
right.
We're listening.
The next one I wrote was kind of an obvious one: impeccability.
Mm.
And I wrote down, I think it might have been Stacy. Stacy with your
Mhm.
kids. And Erica's got these "Are you being impeccable" post-it notes around the house.
Uh huh.
And one of
Oh wow.
her daughters read that and said, "What does it mean?" And I liked what Stacy
Oh,
said.
that's Stacy. I thought you were talking about your boss. I was like, what?
No, Stacy has been here. Um,
And she said,
she said, it means, "Are you being the best version of yourself?"
Yeah, this is what state. So my friend Stacy brought her daughters over, and her daughter asked me, "What do you think impact, or what does that mean?" And Stacy answered and said, "I think it means being the best version of you." Which I thought,
Yeah,
Yes, it's good.
yeah,
yeah, that kind of
yeah.
summed it up really well for me. And I also
Yes.
wrote,
We have a couple other just for nuanced discernment. Best use of energy. When you
mhm,
being the best version of yourself, of course, this is the best use of your energy. So it's a really nuanced but a very sophisticated way of doing that because it makes you calculate. It gives you a methodology for calculating your behaviors and actions, right? So if you get
mhm,
stuck in the day and you say, "Well, am I being impeccable? Am I using my energy to best effect? Is this the effort reward here? Is it worth it? Right? Is this a
mhm,
good use of my energy? Is this an investment or a wastage of my energy or an expenditure?" And then also giving due respect to everything. Not just respect, but due respect. That's really huge too, because again, it shifts you. Am I relating to life, the world, and everything in general with a good usage of my energy? So, sometimes we give respect where it's not due, or sometimes we don't give respect where it is due.
mhm,
Again, either way, not good usages of our energy. So this is why I celebrate our sessions so much. It's me giving due respect to what's going on.
mhm,
How can I not give due respect to your awesomeness? I mean, it's just a gift, it's a joy, it's fantastic. So I don't want to go through life where I don't celebrate and I don't do that. It's a tragic waste, You look back and you say, well, it was kind of okay. No, it is massively magical right now. Due respect, due respect.
mhm,
And then another powerful definition, of course, being impeccable means you're also going to not only be the best of yourself, but make your best effort, which means you're going to be diligent and thorough and scrupulous and conscientious. Yes, which leads to conscientious leads to probably one of the most potent definitions of or understandings of impeccability for me at least. It is to say, not, we aren't right all the time, which is a misunderstanding of impeccability, but we are doing what is right according to our conscience.
mhm,
Right. So I'm being right according to my conscience.
right.
And this is another ridiculously powerful tool because it makes impeccability a decision making tool. How
Mhm.
do I know when I can sign off on being thorough and scrupulous and diligent and conscientious? When do okay, I've got something to research on Google. Well, do I research all 2 trillion, search results? No. At some point, there's a diminishing returns. And I say, that's it. I've done enough. My conscience is clear. I've searched enough. Right now, this applies to pretty much anything we do. And of course, when there are time constraints, that gets leveraged even more. Sometimes you don't have time to even search just the first page of Google. You've got to just do the best you can because you're under
mhm,
pressure.
Mhm.
Again, is your conscience clear? And this is huge because now when I make a decision, I'm happy. I never ever am going to be in a position where I'm going to regret my decisions. Never. And talk about a phenomenal usage of your energy. Plus, it also takes out that doubt and concern and fear and worry which comes from people who are unable to sign off on their efforts. They're handing the report, but did I do enough? I'm not sure. Should I have gone to page 343 instead of 42? It's like, come on. So is your conscience clear? Yes, sign it off. You also now snip those energy threads, right, from the worry and the anxiety, because you have an actual mechanism for finishing your choices. So
Mhm.
this is ridiculously powerful, and it's one of the main reasons why impeccability is the glue. It just ties it all together. I mean, that's why it's the way of impeccability, not way of awareness or way of attunement, way of application. There's so many ways, but way of impeccability. It's the glue. It's the glue. It's the
Mhm.
best use of energy. It gives you a criteria for action every single time. Yeah. Want to know what's appropriate? Well, I've got so much energy to investigate. What am I trying to do? In what context? Okay, simple. There you go. Life is easy. Very easy. And your
Mhm.
conscience. Your conscience. Your conscience.
All right. The
Very
next one I
cool.
had written was trust, and I wrote this one down because Eric has mentioned it several times through
The
this.
Titan of Trust. That's right.
Yes, that's been awesome. The
One
Titan.
of Erica's monikers.
Yeah, so I wrote
The
down
Titan of Trust. Yeah.
trust that you are a good person with good intents at all times, which I
Yeah.
think is the has 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 been one of your takeaways from some of this.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Trust for me, I could talk about trust for like 3 hours probably.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
so much to trust
Yes.
now.
Yes.
That's for sure. That's
Yes.
part of it is self trust. I think. I mean, to me,
Yeah, maybe I should relabel that one self trust because that's really what I was
right.
keyed on.
To
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
that I was just talking with someone again the other day about I revisited trust and choice again this
Mhm.
last week, and that's always kind of what I come back to is that self trust to me is what enables trust in general. In order for you to,
Capital T Trust. Yeah.
yeah, in order for you to trust anything else, that foundation of self trust sort of has to be there.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah, be able to trust yourself. Have to
Um.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So so let's go and how we get to capital T Trust. Everything I said about impeccability just before, trust follows on from that. So I've examined best use of energy. I've been diligent and thorough and scrupulous and conscientious. I'm giving due respect to everything. And I have said, after all my efforts, my conscience is clear and I make my decision and I do whatever it is. Any doing is a decision, right? What happens then? I've done every single thing that I could do. That, but there's one more thing that I can do at that point, and that is to trust. I don't know that my decision is going to be a good decision. I have no way of knowing, no matter how much homework I do. Yes, I can't predict the future. The moment I make it, the whole world could change and my decision is absolutely rubbish. And I have no clue. But I'm going to trust that my decision works out regardless. No matter what, I'm going to trust because it's the only thing that I can do. Plus, I'm investing my energy from an attention point of view, from an intent point of view. I'm investing it into my decision through trust. Because of course, if you make a decision and you're second guessing and self doubting, you're just gonna break down that decision. So the trust is now me standing behind my impeccable choice, right? So trust then becomes an issue of impeccability. Yes, capital T trust. It's
Mhm.
kind of being impeccable about making impeccable choices. So this capital trust is a huge deal. Furthermore, when we apply trust in that particular application, like after we've made a decision and it's a big deal decision, like, okay, I'm going to trust that, when I get married or a job or whatever, that it will work out. When we do this and we have this trust, it shifts us into a positive bias towards a positive confirmation bias about our decision.
Mhm.
So we get to use confirmation bias deliberately and positively. So now, no matter what happens, I'm trusting that it's going to work out in some way or other. And then we start to see when it does go all FUBA, you say, oh, well, if it wasn't for that, and, I lost my job because I messed up completely, but I wouldn't be in this new job, which came out because I lost my old job. I've seen this so many times when people did trust their impeccable decisions, and for myself also. When you do that, it's incredible. Always, when it doesn't work out the way you assumed it would, it turns into a fortuitous mistake. It's really powerful, but you got to have that trust. So this is something that, way of impeccability, really, we don't like to propagate anything that relies on belief. But what I just said about fortuitous mistakes somewhat does. Say, no, don't believe me. Just go and practice it. Trust in your decisions and pay attention when they don't go the way. They don't have to be a mess. They just don't have to exactly go the way you thought it did. But have that absolute focus on the fortuitous mistake. And you're going to find it. You're going to find some value to extract out of the way things turn out every single time. And so it's just something you have to do a few times and, take it as a hypothesis, test the hypothesis, and it pretty much self-proves itself. So it's just one of those things you got to just absolutely apply and see how it works. But it's really incredible. And this is the magic of capital T trust. It is our sophisticated application of positive confirmation bias.
Mhm.
And for me, I
Really
think
profound.
something I've been reviewing over the last week that has come up a lot with self-trust and trust is about really risk management. I remember something a while back at this point that really stuck with me about something along the lines of basically we wouldn't have trust without risk, because
Yes.
if risk wasn't involved, we wouldn't need to trust,
Mhm.
right? We would just, it
You
would
would
just
know.
be, we would know. So risk, you can't, like, you need risk to exist in order for trust to exist. So, trust really only comes into play when you're in a situation where risk is involved. And trust really is risk management. It's saying, I know that there's a risk that this isn't going to go the way I'm expecting it to, or the way I want it to, or, whatever, but I'm trusting whatever. And the whatever in that case for me really always comes back to self-trust, because if you trust yourself, if you're saying, okay, there's this situation, risk is involved, I can never say with 100% certainty that this is going to go the way I'm planning or whatever, but I'm going to accept the risk associated with this decision because I trust myself to make impeccable choices, to figure it out. I trust that I can get the inputs and make choices and choose appropriately, be aware, whatever. I trust that I can do what I need to do in order to figure this out and make this work out. That's how I accept the risk. That's how I trust, is because I trust myself to accept the risk of whatever I'm being asked.
Yes.
For
It's
me,
a leveraging.
that's a big part of trust to me, is seeing its association with risk, and that risk, trust is accepting that was a big part of what I was thinking about this last week. Is part of what is so vastly different for me in seeing trust the way I do is that I think the way I used to see trust was whatever party I was trusting, they were the ones that held the responsibility of the risk. Okay, I'm trusting that you're never going to hurt me again, or you're not going to do this, or you're always going to do that. And if you don't do that, that's on you. You broke my trust, so you're responsible and you have to fix it. And the way I see trust now is if I choose to trust in this situation, then the responsibility of accepting the risk involved is on me, not on you, on me, because I will not, cannot impeccably enter into this trust commitment if I don't trust that I can figure it out if it goes badly. You know, I'm not dependent upon you to fix it. I need to trust that I can fix it. And so if I'm going to enter
Or
into
deal with it, even if you can't fix it. Yeah.
if I'm going to enter into this commitment, then it has to be because I trust myself enough to accept the responsibility of the risk. And that's so different from how I used to see.
Huge. And that's what Erica said can only take place, that trust, if it is premised, that's capital T trust, if it's premised on impeccability.
Right. Right.
It's not going to happen if there's no impeccability in the first place. Sorry. So it's a way of leveraging ourselves to the utmost, and the circumstances and our awareness, our attention, our filtering ability, all of those magical things we leverage through this trust. Yeah. Very, very cool. Very, very powerful term. Yeah. Trust a very big deal. Very, very big deal.
All right. The last one I wrote down for this session before I gotta go is joy. You control your joy. No one else does. Try to find joy in every situation where it's possible and appropriate.
Yes. Find it or connect to it.
Find it or connect to it. I don't know that I've thought about the difference.
Okay, finding it says it may or may not be there by implication. Yeah. But connect to it. It's there. I just have to connect to it. One assumes it's always available. The other is assuming it may or may not be.
That's true. Yeah.
Subtle, but a big difference.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, to me, joy is always available. We just have to shift, perspective shift, connect, focus, isolate, reattach, perspective shift, all sorts of tools to connect to that joy. It just takes a little bit of doing sometimes. It's always there, though. It's not something that may or may not be there. And it's our choice to find it and extract it. Yeah, and connect to it. Yeah. But not find it, but just to connect to it, rather, I should say. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a very subtle difference, but it's huge, though. Many people don't believe that joy exists in their lives because they kind of look for it and they don't find it. And it's one of those things that, like, when you chase after stuff in the wild, they all run away. Well, same thing,
Yeah, very good point.
So it's a big deal. Very subtle shift in mindset, but yeah. So when you find yourself in a like, let's say you have a moment of awareness at work and you say, well, I'm not feeling so great. Why am I choosing this? Why am I not choosing to connect to joy that is available?
Yeah.
Now it's on you. Now the onus is on you, not on life itself. It's a very, very, very subtly implied understanding of how the world works that's kind of put onto us that we don't always question, but when we do, one simple little shift like that, it's huge. No,
well, and that reminds me of the concept of sort of like tasking someone with accomplishing something that they've been told is impossible versus tasking them with something that you say,
yes,
already exists. The answer already exists. All you have to do is figure it out. It's not impossible. It has already been done. You just have to figure it out. It's a completely different mindset to try to tackle something that you fully believe exists versus this might not exist at all and I've just got to try to pull it out of thin air or whatever. It's a totally different situation.
Yeah, it's huge. And they use this in universities a lot. They say, all right, your challenge today is to recreate the methodology that they used to make a 50 miles per gallon, engine for a V8 or something, right? So they just, and then say, oh, you got to figure out how they did this. That assumption that it's already been done,
Right.
and they
Right.
regularly do this, and then the students tend to come up with it. It's very powerful.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you pull that off of yourself, that barrier off of impossibilities, then
Yeah. And since we're on Dictionary of Power, one of really profound entries for many of the participants is reverse engineering.
Mhm.
Come at problems, assume the result that you want, and then work backwards from there to say, if this were to be true, what would need to be in place to make it true?
Mhm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is magically potent technique. So yeah, reverse engineering, powerful term, which leads to another powerful term. We use such things to leverage ourselves.
Mhm.
So for me, leverage is an unbelievable, magical power term. Really powerful. To use leverage, leverage myself. I leverage myself in many ways. Impeccability leverages me to use my energy properly and appropriately and
Mm-hmm.
well. So yeah, self leverage is, leverage, self leverage don't matter. It's really powerful when you
Mm-hmm.
look at it in this context, not the usual thing. So really
Yeah.
huge, really huge. So I would recommend also, as you go through your day and something kind of clicks in your brain, say, wow, that was pretty cool. Immediately say, oh, how would I conceptualize this to make it into a power conception?
Mm-hmm.
You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at what comes up. So many things. I mean, just something simple like patience. Is that not a power conception?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Listening, paying
Absolutely.
attention, yeah, observation. So many things. In other words, you start paying attention what's important to you, and particularly what's important to you in the context of giving you usefulness and value.
Mm-hmm.
Really huge,
Mhm.
really huge, and very helpful.
Yeah. All
Very,
right.
very cool. Do we have oh, you gotta go?
I gotta go.
All
That
right,
was,
you gotta go.
that was
Okay,
my
okay.
last
No,
one.
no problem. I don't want to keep you, Joe. I don't want to keep you. I just treasure our time. But Erika, I hope you don't have to go. I want to share something. Otherwise, I'll wait.
Well, I do. I've got to go get ready for
You
my guitar
do?
lesson.
Blah. All right, all right. We'll share on Tuesday. Remind me. Yeah, I'll show you real quick so you can get a
Okay.
taste. So you remind me. You see all the abbreviations of the different power conception terms.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. All right. So there we go.
Great. All right. I will
Yeah.
remind you on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. It's fun. It's just it's fun stuff. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Brilliant.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I
have a
love
good
it. I love it.
we're gonna
Yeah. Very cool. Very
catch up
cool.
next week.
Brilliant.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yes. Bye
Bye, Rika.
bye, Erica. Bye bye. I'm looking forward to going into this, Beena. It's quite fun. But we'll do a little bit of it now just because we got a taste of it. Yeah.